So thank you again so much for everyone to coming to our very first UStart session of 2021. And I'm very proud that you guys are the first re-engineered class. So the University of Saskatchewan is located on Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis. We pay our respects to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place and reaffirm our relationship with one another. So this is a very exciting journey that all of you guys are embarking on. As an engineer, you have the opportunity to change the world. And what you decide to do with your degree is really up to you. So I'm just quickly going to go over a few housekeeping items. So throughout the presentation, please keep your mic and camera off. At the Q&A, we'll have an opportunity that you can turn your camera and turn your mic on and ask us some questions. But if you do have questions throughout the presentation, please ask us. We have a team of advisors that are here in the chat that are ready to answer your questions. So make sure to just pop them in the chat bar and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. So I'm just going to introduce all of the staff and faculty that are with us today. So we have two academic advisors joining us. We have Noreen Pridikella and Sarah Bechter. They're both advisors in the college that I'm sure you'll get to know as you begin your degree. We also have Dr. Sean Ma and Dr. Joel Frey, and they are very special professors with the college. They also teach first-year courses, and they also are part of the redesign team that helped develop the re-engineer program. So if you have any questions about re-engineered or the changes, they're the experts, and they're here to answer your questions. And then myself, my name is Caitlin Dilsner, and I have had the opportunity to get to know a lot of you through email and Discord and meetings. So it's great to see some familiar names in the chat. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out to me through email or the Discord, and I'll be happy to get back to you. We also have Carlene Deutscher. She is our alumni relations and marketing person in the college. She works very closely with a lot of the student groups. So if you end up getting involved in the college, you'll likely work with Carlene. And then finally, we have Dr. Bruce Sparling with us today. And he's going to give us a welcome.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. And I'm really delighted to be here this evening. And I want to thank everybody for coming. This is a very exciting night for us. And I know that in Saskatoon here, it's a beautiful evening. So we do appreciate your coming to spend this time. But I think it'll be well worth your time because you're going to get a lot of really good information from this session. So first of all, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Bruce Sparling. I'm the Associate Dean Academic for the College of Engineering. And what that really means, and I know a lot of you don't know much about university governance, but I'm in charge of the undergraduate programs for the College of Engineering. And so if you're having any problems with your courses or with your programs, then I'm sort of ultimately responsible for that. So first of all, talk to your instructors, talk to the advisors, but if you still need more help than that, then I'm the person that you can contact, and you can always come to me. You don't have to feel at all reluctant to do that because that's what my job is. It's there to help students. And I'm also I'm in charge of the Engineering Student Center, and it's the Engineering Student Center where you'll get a lot of your support. And the advisors that are here tonight, they work with me in the Engineering Student Center. And again, it's an excellent place, an excellent resource to get all kinds of information. So please, whenever you have questions, don't hesitate to call or get in contact with the Engineering Student Center. So just a little bit about my background. I'm an alumni of the College of Engineering, and I graduated from civil engineering, and I'm a structural engineer, which means I've worked on buildings, I've worked on bridges, I've worked on telecommunication towers, so all kinds of structures, and that's my area. I work specifically in vibrations and vibrations due to wind and things like that, but in structures in general, and that's one of the programs we offer. But I know there's a lot of information tonight that you're going to get, so I won't take up very much of your time. But I do want to say that we're extremely excited to be launching the re-engineered first-year program for our students this year. It's been a long time coming, and I honestly believe that this is the best program in Canada. And I don't think there's anything anywhere that's anything like it at the present time. And I think people will be trying to imitate us in the coming years. So first of all, we started out with a blank sheet of paper. We said if we were going to design a first year engineering program, what would we want in it? So we started with that premise. We built all the courses so that they go together, they complement each other, and what you need in one class might be delivered in another. And so they're very well integrated and coordinated. And so that's one aspect of it. You'll be getting lots of valuable skills that you'll need to go out and start working in the engineering field, even right after first year. As you'll hear a lot about the competency-based assessment, we've tried to get a more effective way of measuring whether students have learned and making sure that they've learned. So you'll get multiple choices to master the skills and the knowledge that you need, which I think is again is a first in engineering education in Canada. But I think the main thing, which the thing that I'm most excited about, is because of this first year program, we were able to assemble an all-star team of instructors, and that will be in charge of delivering all the engineering courses that you're going to get. And so these people are truly gifted teachers. They really care about the students. They're dedicated to the first year engineering. That's what they do. And so regardless of the content, I know you're going to get a good experience from these instructors, and you'll meet some of them tonight and be able to talk to them. I also just want to say a word or two about the transition back to somewhat in-person learning. I know it's been a very strange year for, I'm sure, all of you, wherever you have been and whatever you've been doing. And it's been strange for us too. We've been delivering everything online over this past year, and it's gone very well, reasonably well, but we know that it's not as good as being in person. So in the coming fall term, we plan to hope to have all of our students in Saskatoon coming to campus on a regular basis as much as possible and as much as we're allowed to do. And so you probably received an email from me over the past week or so. And so what we're planning to do for the time being is that um, you'll be coming to campus to do the experiential learning part of the program, which will be all the labs. It will be the sessions where you're working in tutorials and working with other students, and then there will be some parts of the program that will be delivered remotely, and so those will typically be the large section lecture parts of the program. But I don't think you should worry about that because the instructors that we've got tried out some techniques this year on how to do that effectively, and the feedback from the students was very positive. So I think they know how to do the lecture part of it well and enhance the learning. But we're really happy to have students coming back on campus so that you can meet each other, you can support each other, you can meet your instructors face to face. We'll have help sessions, as you'll see, and so you'll get the really important part of being together and working together and building your community, and that will help you going forward. So I won't say much more about that. I know there'll be more information about specifics later on. Some of the arts and science classes that are going to be part of your program, um, we don't have control over those, so they may be a little bit more um, tilted in favor of the remote teaching. But nevertheless, there will still be a substantial and exciting in-person component where you'll get the experiential learning. So I think that that is all that I'm going to say right now, and I'll let you get into the meat of the program. And so I hope that you will enjoy what's being presented. I encourage you to ask any question that comes to your mind. That's what we're here for. So please, please do feel free let us know what you're thinking and what your concerns are. So I'll turn it back over to Caitlin and let the program begin.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sparling. And just to echo what he said, please ask us questions. That's the whole purpose of this session. Our presentation today is going to be based mostly on the handbook. So I hope you all had the opportunity to read the handbook so you can have some questions. But if not, we're just going to go over the highlights that while you're reading the handbook to really pay attention to and recognize. So the first thing that's going to be coming up for everyone is the summer top-ups. So these are going to be available in August, and you have to complete them by mid-September. And I would really recommend to do these during the summer rather than try to squeeze them into September so that they're not taking your attention away from your courses. So there are a series of free online quizzes in math, physics, chemistry, English, and Indigenous reconciliation. And the great thing about them is if you maybe have forgotten a lot of math or maybe you'd like to just kind of brush up on your chemistry skills, these give you an opportunity to make sure that you're up to speed for when you start university. Maybe if you really don't remember how to do physics, there will be tutors available that can assist you if you need help. And then once classes start in September, there's going to be teaching assistants available that can help answer any questions you may have. So a lot of these courses are going to be pass or fail and may be considered assignment 0 for some of your courses. So it is important to pay attention for when these come out so you can complete them. And I also have Dr. Sean Ma and Dr. Joel Frey here. I was just wondering if you guys have anything to add about the summer top-ups that the students here should know.
Sure, Caitlin, thanks. We are hoping to have all the summer top-ups ready to roll such that the students can begin taking part in them by August 1st. That's our target. And we'll probably have some more communications coming out to you around that time to confirm that, but that's what our target is. And so far we're on target.
Well, that sounds great. So early August, keep reading your emails and watch out for the summer top-ups. And we will give you instruction on how to access these and use the platform. So, competency-based assessment. As Dr. Bruce Sparling was talking about, this is the new method of grading that we're using. And it is very different than what you may have experienced in high school. So there's kind of two key things to kind of pay attention to that are kind of different. So there's course learning outcomes, and then there's learning or outcomes. And this just kind of outlines exactly what we want from you and exactly how you can demonstrate that you're competent in skills. And within them, there's kind of three/4 different ways that we're going to be grading you. So the type A material is just pass or fail. And these don't affect your course grades, but you do have to complete these types of materials. And they're just very basic, kind of simple questions, just to make sure that you understand the fundamentals. And then type B and B plus, these are general basic questions and will account for about 70% of your grade. And you can see there what you need to achieve to pass the course. So then the type C is kind of where you can differentiate yourself. If you want to kind of have a higher grade, the type C is where you can shine. So the type A materials, you will have unlimited opportunities to complete the materials and to finish those. And then the type B and B plus, you'll have several opportunities, sometimes 4 or 5 opportunities to try to improve your grades. And the type C, those are just normal grading, so you get what you get. So before I move on, I want to give Dr. Shaw, Dr. Sean Ma, and Dr. Joel Frey an opportunity if they want to expand a little bit on the competency-based assessment, because they're the ones that have been living and breathing this for quite a while.
Joel, do you want to start off by saying anything on this?
You've been working more closely on this recently, so it's much fresher in your mind. So go ahead.
Well, we'll just review the key points. Caitlin said most of the key ones already. The type A's are actually automated. You do them online, so you can do them anytime you want. And they are very basic problems. You have unlimited numbers of tries to get them right, but you got to get them all done. That's the bottom line. And we do hope that you'll generally do the type A's first within a module because they are meant to empower and enable you to do the type B and C materials. The type B plus materials, these are your meat and potatoes questions. They are the basic integrative questions that would be part of a normal course. So for example, when you do statics, it would be a two-dimensional particle equilibrium problem. No curveballs, no tricks, just a basic 2D particle equilibrium problem. Joel will be involved in teaching circuits, so it'd be a basic circuits problem. And in dynamics, it would be a basic projectile motion problem. These are no tricks. We just want to make sure that you're good at doing these basic problems. You do have to get over 70% on the type B material in order to pass the module and therefore the course. You can also differentiate yourself, by the way, in your grades by getting more than 70% on the type B materials. So you have to get at least 70%, but anything up to 100%, that's going to differentiate you from your peers in terms of your grades. You just have to get over that 70% threshold. And as Caitlin said, there'll be multiple opportunities to do so during any module. And then the type C materials, those are the tricky questions, the hard questions, the curveball questions. And we will talk about a few of them in the course in lectures. But for the most part, we'll be focusing on the type B material to make sure you can do all the basic core skills that we need you to come out of the courses with in first year. And to the extent that happens, you'll be well prepared for second year and beyond.
Great, thank you. Do you have anything to add, Joel, before I move on?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, this might sound a little bit confusing right now as you're looking through the handbook and trying to understand it. But we're not just throwing you into the system unprepared. One of your first courses where you'll be spending a lot of time, probably with me as well, is GE 102, Introduction to Engineering 1, and we will go through this in quite a bit of detail and make sure you understand what this looks like in some example courses so that you can go ahead and know where you stand on these different learning outcomes as you go through the course. So it's not a surprise at the end when you find out, oh, I've 4 of the 7 I didn't meet competency on. You won't be caught in that situation.
Yeah, one of the things I heard from a student who did the pilot class that she really appreciated that she knew exactly what she was being tested on and there was no surprises with her grades. So I think that's, makes life a whole lot easier when you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing and how to achieve the grades you want to.
And that's a really good point, Caitlin. I should add that we did a survey of the recent first years, and the first years that just finished, they did a pilot course in the fall in statics that used the competency-based assessment. At the end of the year, so just a few weeks ago, we asked them about various features of their first year, and 85% of them said they preferred the competency-based assessment and that they learned better with it, in part because it was a little less stressful and gave them second chances when they needed it. So an overwhelming number of the first years really appreciated it, and that really made us feel good because we feel this is going to be a key differentiator in our new re-engineered first year program.
Wow, that is a great stat to hear. I'm so happy to hear that. So I'm not surprised, but that's really great to hear. So I'm going to move on to the schedule now and talk a little bit more about this. So you may have seen this graph that it's in the handbook and it's also on our website. So this is just showing you that you're going to be in anything that's green, you're going to be either in a lecture or in a lab. Anything that's yellow is going to be a break time, and then the gray is the help sections. So your courses, depending on your block, will vary what course you're taking in the green block. So maybe math might be in the morning, and maybe for another person, math is on in the afternoon. But all of the blocks will follow this kind of general format. What will vary is when your top up or spare time is. So like Dr. Sean Moss said, you're going to have opportunities to improve your grades and try again. And that is going to be during these top up or spare times. So for example, in the blocks 1 through 6, you can see that Thursday mornings is when you have an opportunity to do your top ups. But let's say maybe you're really happy with your grades and you don't want or don't need to do the top ups, you can have a spare. So you can sleep in, you can have extra study time, you can be on campus, you can do what you want. So you can, as you look through the different blocks we have posted on our website, we will be emailing those to you soon as well. You can see all of the different block options. So look through them and you can choose a block that has a top up time that works for you. So looking through your schedule, again, like I said, it will really vary depending on your schedule because we're using a very different course system that's not like a typical university. So you can see that computer science is taking a big chunk of your time in the fall. And then in October, you're taking a lot of different courses that are a lot smaller. And the weights of the bar indicates how much time that course is going to be taking. So for example, the communications in the fall term is a much lighter course than computer science, for example. It's taking up a lot more time and is quite condensed. So between the blocks, there may be variations of the same courses, but all students are going to be taking courses in this sequence. So your natural science is going to be in term 1. Your chemistry for engineering will be in your winter term. Each of the blocks will just be a different accumulation of these different courses in a different time. So I've also been getting quite a few questions about the half-speed option and what that's going to look like. So the courses that are highlighted in the green are the courses that you're going to be taking in the first year of your half-speed option. And then the second year of your half-speed option are going to be all of the gray courses. So you can see in the year 1, you'll be taking the natural science series and math and the intro to engineering. And in the winter term, you're going to be taking chemistry for engineering, process engineering, and your second math course with your second intro to engineering course. And then your second year, you're going to be taking all of the other courses. Those ones are a little bit more technical courses. So it's a great way to kind of ease you into engineering so that you can maybe work a part-time job, or maybe you're doing sports, or maybe you just need extra study time. The half-speed is a really, really great option. So if you want to register for the half-speed option, you'll have to choose a block like everyone else, and you'll have to register for all of the courses. And then what you need to do is talk to an academic advisor, and they will put you into the half-speed option. So essentially what they'll do is they will keep all of the courses that you've registered for that are in the first year of the half-speed. So that'll be the natural science, the math, etc., and they'll just remove all the other ones. So as you look through the blocks, if you want, maybe you really only want afternoon courses, you can scroll through the different blocks and see when the math is, when the chemistry is for the different blocks that you want to register for. And again, if you have any questions, please ask us in the chat. We have a team of advisors that are here to answer any questions that you may have. So I've also been getting lots of questions about hardware. So I'm going to maybe pass this right off to Dr. Sean Ma and Dr. Joel Frey to maybe just briefly talk a little bit about the type of laptop that we are requiring for engineering students and why we are requesting you to have a quite powerful computer.
Well, it's reasonably powerful. It's not super powerful. I guess the most important point to note there is the little note at the bottom of the page there. Good to have for students who are considering majoring in computer electrical engineering. If you have no intent to go into computer or electrical engineering, you don't have to get sort of the souped up version. And if you are going into computer electrical engineering, you don't have to get the souped up version either, but it would be helpful going forward. You'd be able to keep using your laptop and it would work well for the electrical and computer engineering program. The laptop that has been specified is moderately capable and expensive. We tried to keep the cost down. Some of you may have already noticed that you're not going to have to buy too many textbooks for the new first year. So we've been working on that to keep costs down. But this laptop is going to allow you to engage with all the courses in different ways. And the calculator will be used in courses that are computationally based. And this is the one calculator that will sort of meet all the needs of all the different courses. It's a fairly popular one. You can buy it online or Best Buy or wherever. And as far as the scanner is
What did you
concerned,
touch?
you just need to be able to scan something to a PDF. We don't particularly care how you do it, just as long as that you're able to do it. So if you want to do it with your phone, that's great. If you have a copier or scanner at home that you would prefer to use, that would be fine too. But just have the ability to scan a document because we'll be using some marking software where you will upload your photos of your documents essentially, and then we'll be marking your work online. So that's what that's going to be for. And I guess we could answer some questions either now or later about any specifics that people might have questions about.
I guess I had one question that maybe I'll ask on behalf of the students. Is it required to have a laptop or will a desktop do?
We need a laptop because, for example, the computer science course and the MATLAB course that follows it, you'll be doing stuff in class with your laptop. So I suppose theoretically you could get a desktop, but you'd have to carry it around from class to class, and that probably wouldn't be very convenient.
And maybe I'll just ask one more question before we move on. Are there some models of the computers that we're recommending students to get?
Yes, there are, well, not a model per se. You could bring this spec list to Best Buy or Visions or wherever and show it to them and they could get you all set up, I imagine. The bookstore, there's a wing of the bookstore that deals with computers, laptops, and they have a few models that will meet all these specs. So you could actually go through the bookstore to look at the options that they have that would meet these specifications. They have a range of prices, a rather surprising range from affordable to less affordable. But you can choose the one that you would work for you, and they're ready to go with those options.
Great. So I think we're going to move on. And if there's any more questions about hardware, computers, again, just keep putting them into the chat because we have a team of experts here that will be happy to get back to you. So next, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Engineering Student Center. So like Dr. Bruce Farling said, there's 2 members from the Engineering Student Center that are joining us, and they are academic advisors. So academic advisors do a lot of different things. Basically, they're there to help you from the day that you arrive on campus to the day you graduate. And they help with everything that happens that have to do with being a student. So everything from planning out your degree, maybe you have a bit more of a complicated situation, like if you have, you want to do a dual degree or a certificate, they can help you figure that out and reach your academic goals. They can help you understand university and college procedures and policies. The university has the big place, so they can help you navigate through all of that. They can also help with any application, transfer credit, and registration. And if you are a student who is wanting transfer credit and you receive an email regarding that, make sure to get back to that email as quickly as possible to speed up the process because it does take quite a while. So make sure to be checking your emails consistently if you are wanting to get transfer credits. Academic advisors also help with awards and scholarships and bursaries. So you may have received some awards already, but as you continue and go throughout your degree, there's a lot more awards and scholarships that are available to you. So they can help you through that process. If you're wanting to do study abroad or exchange, they can help you with that. I had a friend who went through engineering and went to, I believe it was Birmingham with his girlfriend. So that was a really great opportunity. And then they can also help you with mental health and wellness. On campus, there are so many different services available to students, so they can help you, help connect you with resources. So at the bottom there, I have the email and the phone number, and please reach out if you have anything. They're happy to help. So also within the Engineering Student Center is our Engineering Indigenous Initiatives. So at the bottom there, there's a picture of Alana, and she is our Indigenous Student Initiatives Coordinator. And she is there to help all students and to connect you with any kind of resources or people that you need. So some different things that we offer is there's the Engineering Student Center, which is the resource room on the second floor. And that's a space for all students. Students like to study there or hang out. There's different, sometimes little events that happen. There's also lots of different student supports that we offer. So that's everything from academic to cultural to financial, different supports, building community. There's lots of different things available. Some of them are work placements or volunteer scholarships, mental health. So make sure to get involved and reach out and get involved with the engineering student initiatives. And then finally, there's also lots of cultural teachings. So especially right now as Canada is grieving and mourning, I think it is especially important to learn more and to become educated. So the cultural teachings are available to everyone and anyone. And I highly, highly recommend everyone to get involved and learn more about First Nations and Métis culture. So some different things that happen is there are elder meetings and smudges, soup and bannock days. So there's lots of different ways to get involved. We also have the co-op internship program that is available. So if you are interested in the co-op internship, you will apply towards the end of your second year, or sorry, the end of your first year if you would like to go on co-op after your second year. So start thinking about this early because it's a really, really great opportunity that I highly recommend. You get full-time paid work experience, and the internship pays really well. It's a really great program. It's available to both domestic and international students, which is really fantastic. There's flexible term lengths. So if you want to maybe just do a summer program, you can do that. Or if you want to go for a full 16 months, there are different options. You can begin your work at different times. So maybe if you want to start in January or May, September, there's lots of different options. And then it's a way for you to gain experience, and you can actually gain hours towards your professional designation, which is a really great way to get a head start. So also in the handbook, there is a list of important dates to remember. So I'm just going to point out a few, but I recommend that you read through all of them for both fall and winter term, but I'm just going to highlight the ones that are coming up. So registration opens on June 12th at noon, Saskatchewan time. So if you're not in Saskatchewan, I would recommend taking a look and seeing what time that is for you. If you want a very specific block, you may want to register right on June 12th. The summer top-ups are going to be happening at the beginning of August, so make sure to look out for those. Orientation is on September 1st, so you will want to attend that. We'll be having more information kind of like this. The first day of classes is on September 2nd. I've been getting lots of questions about when tuition is due, so you actually don't have to pay for tuition until after you start classes. What's really great about this is that if you maybe want to start in the full speed and you maybe realize that the half speed is a better fit for you, you pay for tuition towards the end of September and it's due on September 30th. So there's opportunity for you to kind of get into the swing of things before paying tuition. And then again, the fall break is from November 8th to 14th. So if you're wanting to do any kind of traveling or trips or family getaway, make sure don't schedule during the class time, but you will have that break. So class registration is coming up on June 12th. So we have created a class registration video tutorial that goes in a lot more detail than I'm going to go through today. So I highly recommend to check out that video because it'll be a lot more thorough. Then we also have a one-page PDF that you can view if you'd like. So just very quickly showing you how to register for your courses. Because you guys are registering in block courses, it's way, way easier than students in, let's say, arts and science have to do for registering for their courses. So when you log on to your PAWS account using your NSID, you will search registration in the top. You can hit registration, and then you'll be brought to a screen that looks kind of like this. So there's a few different things you can do. You can view your status. And from here, you can make sure that you're eligible to register. You view the registration date if you forget. And then you can also register from your classes on the link where it says register for classes. You're going to have to register for both fall and winter term courses. So in this demonstration, I'm going to register for my fall classes. So I'm going to select fall. And then you're going to be brought to a screen that's going to show all of the different blocks that are available. Automatically, you're going to be put into block 1. And you can scroll through if you maybe really want block 7, because that's what all your friends are registering, and you can scroll down and find that. You can see on this screenshot that it'll show you what time the classes are, what day they are, and then it may also give some information about if they're taught on campus or remotely. So you can scroll down and find the block you want to register for in. Once you select the block that you would like to, you can click on it. And then you're going to be brought to a window that's going to ask you to enter all of the start dates for each of the classes. Make sure to enter the dates exactly as written, or else you're going to get an error. So you can type in the dates, or you can copy and paste them from below. And then the end date needs to be filled. So if you click somewhere else or tab to the next end date, it will automatically fill in the end date for the course. But this is especially important when you get to the very last course in the block. Make sure to click somewhere else before hitting confirm. If you don't, you're going to get a little error that says you have not filled in the end date. And you can fix that by just clicking somewhere else and then hitting confirm again. So on June 12th, when every single first year in the university is registering for their classes, the system can be a little slow. So don't hit submit a whole bunch of times thinking it's going to speed up, because it's going to be a lot slower if you do that. So it may take quite a while for it to process your request. So just wait, and it will eventually go through and tell you that you've registered for your courses. So once you've registered, you can view your schedule and see all the courses. So on the bottom left there, you can see all the courses that you've registered in. It may look a little funky because of the modular courses. So for example, the natural science series has 4 different modules for each of the different sciences. And it's going to look like they're overlapping, but that's just because those modules will switch throughout the year. As well, you can see that you've registered in your courses. If you would like to drop anything, which you are not able to, you must talk to an academic advisor. So if you want to switch to the half speed, you have to talk to an academic advisor. If you watch the registration tutorial, it also will tell you how to change your blocks if you decide after registration you want to change your block, or if you want to add any extra electives on top of the first year program. So again, make sure to watch that registration video. It goes in a lot more detail than I did today. And if you have any questions about how to register, please pop them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them. So the last kind of point I want to talk about before handing it over to your first year professors, I want to point out some of the key academic policies that you should become familiar with before starting. So the first one I kind of want to highlight is academic integrity. So what may have been considered okay in high school may not be considered ethical in university. So make sure to read through the academic integrity policy and become familiar with it. There are a few things like you must submit your own work for academic credit, you need to properly cite the work of others, and you must follow all exam rules. So it's very, very important to not cheat in university because if you do cheat, that can follow you for a very, very long time. The next kind of point is academic and promotion policy. So that's the policy that outlines if you're able to proceed to second year or if you need to maybe take a reduced course load. So become familiar with that. It's important for you to know. And then finally, academic accommodation. So these are for students that maybe you need an accommodation in your courses. Maybe you need a little bit more time for exams. Maybe there's lots of different things that you may be eligible for an accommodation. So make sure to check out that policy and register for the ASC if you would like. So now I'm going to pass it over to our professors that are joining us today. And I've prepared 3 questions for them that I think some of you may be interested in hearing. And then we're going to pass it off for questions from the audience and maybe some questions that have been coming up a lot in the chat. So my first question that I have for both of you that I would like to get your thoughts on is, what has online lectures been like? And maybe what are some tips for success in an online course? And maybe
Joel,
I'll
do you
go
want to lead
to,
off? Oh.
yeah, we'll go to Joel first.
I was going to suggest Sean start, and then I'll follow up on this one.
All right. Well, I had low expectations for online courses last year, but I was pleasantly surprised, as were I think the students to some extent, that it was a lot more fun than we thought it was going to be. But it's only fun if you make it fun. Instructors like Joel and I will do our best to make it fun, but we need you to help along. And what does that mean? That means when we're presenting a lecture, like in this format here on WebEx, and we have chat, you could be asking questions in chat as we go. We'll have people supporting, answering questions on chat most of the time, and we'll be asking you questions. And if you respond, we'll see how you're doing, and we can address any concerns that are coming up and help yourselves. So we developed quite a rapport with the recent first year class, probably better than any other first year class, which is kind of a surprise, but it is what it is. It was really good. We got to know them quite well because we'd be exchanging messages with them before lectures, after lectures, during lectures, and it was really good. I quite enjoyed it, but you got to engage. The key part is to engage, and we will do our best to create an engaging learning environment.
I agree with everything Sean said. And I will add that, as he mentioned, we will do our best to make online lectures very interactive. So there will be an opportunity, we will talk about something, we'll show you something, and then we'll give you an opportunity to work on it. That might be on a piece of paper right in front of you on your desk to try something. It might be by answering a question online and we can see everyone's results. But my advice is to take that time and try the thing we're asking you to try. So if you use that opportunity to sit and watch Netflix on your phone, you're losing out on a major learning opportunity where you can try something right in class and know right away whether or not you know how to do it. Because if you realize you don't know how to do it, then you won't be shocked when you go to sit down and do the assignment and then discover you can't do it. So it's an opportunity to get out ahead of the things you're not sure about. And something that I definitely discovered this past year with online learning is, we've heard a lot about it in the media, that it's, students are not getting the experience they deserve and so on, but online learning is not inherently bad. I think 14 hours of being hunched over your laptop with no other human contact is inherently bad. And luckily this fall, it sounds like we will be in a situation where you'll be able to be on campus, meeting with people in smaller groups and working on things that are more hands-on learning. And these big lectures done online will actually complement that quite nicely. So I'm very excited about this. I think, of course, this whole pandemic thing has been very challenging, but it also gives us an opportunity to advance the way we view education very rapidly and evolve very quickly.
Yeah, one of the things that I've heard that students have really appreciated is that everything is posted online. So, if they maybe need to rewatch the lectures or re-look at the notes, that they're all available online. So if you, need to look at something a few times to remember it, that's available. So I've heard lots of great feedback from online learning, and I'm excited the next year will be, like Joel said, have some more human contact than our previous cohort got. So I think it's you guys are in the best situation that everyone has experienced online learning, so our staff and faculty are ready to help you with their courses. Do you have anything else to add before I switch over to the next question?
Well, can I bring up a question that's been posted? Like,
yes.
So it's about success in the university. Come on.
The question is, what makes for a successful first year within your program?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ma.
I was gonna take a shot at it. So we do watch the chat. So we do walk the talk here. So what makes for a successful first year within your program? And I think yes, 10 people, you get at least 10 different answers on this, but keeping up is going to be important. So don't let things slide. Stay on top of what's going on. And we're not trying to hurt anybody. We want you to all to succeed. We really do. We truly do. And so we're going to tell you stuff that'll help you succeed. What is frustrating to us sometimes is when people completely ignore whatever we say, and then they have trouble. And so if you listen to us and sort of go along with what we're suggesting, those are tried and true things. It should give you the best chance for a positive outcome. And remember, we do want you to succeed. I know sometimes you've heard, oh, university, they're trying to kill you. They're trying to weed out people in the first year. Not true. We want you all to succeed. If you all got 100% in all your courses, we would be ecstatic. We would be so happy. So we are trying to help you succeed, and don't forget that. We're not trying to fail anybody at all.
I'll add to that quickly too. One of the important things about being successful is to learn all of the technical and non-technical content that you're learning as part of the engineering program. But it's also about learning how to be successful. We're getting a little bit meta here, but it's understanding what it takes to be successful at university. And so we've got supports built into that, again, right in that first class, GE 102, where we're going to give you a lot of tried and true practices around study skills, time management, how to keep up, how to balance your workload with the other parts of life so that you can be successful at not just being a student, but being a human being as you go through first year engineering. And one of the things that's going to be really important is we're going to give you a lot of tried and true techniques and tricks, but it's going to be very important for you to pay attention to what is working for you. And we're also going to help you to understand how to take time, take 5 minutes, sit down and reflect on things and say, you know what, I studied for this test this way and that didn't work. So what can I do differently next time so that it goes better? And we're going to teach you the importance of embracing those sorts of practices. So it's not just how to do it, but how you yourself can do it in an individual sort of plan for success.
That was really great feedback. Thank you. I think one thing that I've heard from a lot of engineering students that you don't necessarily have to be the smartest cookie to make it through engineering, but you do have to be willing to work hard and to be disciplined and put the effort in, and that's what makes you successful successful engineering student. So as you move through your program, definitely make sure to keep in mind the things that you learn in those first classes. I know a lot of students sometimes kind of brush them off. I know I didn't pay attention as good as I should have in my first intro course. So make sure to pay attention because there's lots of great information. The next question that I have for the both of you is, what are you most excited for with the re-engineered program? Or maybe what do you think is the most dramatic change with the re-engineered program? I know we've been talking a lot about this, but what's something that you're looking forward to when launching this program?
I'll go first if you like.
Thanks.
I can't, you know what, I could talk all night about this. I'm excited about everything that's built in here. One of the most exciting things from my perspective is the way the courses are going to be coordinated and integrated. One of the reasons computer science is such a time-intensive and accelerated course at the start of the term is we want you to learn how to program in Python right away in your program, because we want you to use those programming skills in many of the classes that follow. And we can't expect you to do that if you're taking the course in parallel with other courses, because we don't know where you are in your learning. So if you get that course done, you do well, you move on, and now you're going to start using those programming skills in things like electrical circuits, maybe mechanics, using it in design experiences. And so that's something I'm really excited about, because I went through my first year at the University of Saskatchewan back sometime last century, doesn't matter how long ago it was. And the courses were not integrated at all. You know, you had your math, and maybe you used it in another class. You probably did, but maybe the notation was different. You didn't understand where it was coming back or why you were learning it. You heard a lot of the time, you're going to need this next year. You learn it now because you're going to need it next year. Well, I'm not going to remember it next year, unfortunately. So the way that we've designed this is so that the things you learn, we're not going to have to explain to you why they're important. You're going to discover for yourself very quickly why they're important and how they allow you to solve really complex problems that you didn't think you'd have a hope of solving before you went through the sequence of learning that we've laid out for you.
And certainly I would agree with everything Joel said, and beginning with the first thing he said, which is all the different aspects that we've tried to bake into the program are things that we feel passionately about. I think ultimately at the end of the day, we don't talk about this too much, but one of the things I'm excited about for you is that we'll be more of a family. When I went through first year at Waterloo in systems design engineering, my cohort was 100 students in systems, and we stayed together for 4 years. But being together and having a small group of professors that worked with us in that first year helped us bond. And that's been one of the challenges we've had over the past many years with the first year here, is that we haven't had that bonding experience, and everybody's just sort of goes off into the wind. But now we have this sort of small cohort of instructors, and it's going to be more like, hopefully more like a family, and that we're all a big team together, you and us. And we're excited about that because there's accountability for us and for you, and we get to know each other, and we care about each other, and we care about your success. And we think that will create, that's part of what will help create a more welcoming environment in first year. Everybody who will be teaching wants you to succeed. And that's another key element that's maybe a little different than the past, perhaps. So you've got that going for you. There are other elements as well. I'm a bit more technically nerdy, geeky, and so for me, the competency-based assessment, you know, I'm excited about. Will it help you learn better, and will you enjoy it better as an assessment system? I'm sure it's like, yeah, whatever, I'm getting assessed. But you know, if it helps you learn better, that's a home run for us, and we believe it will. We believe the recent cohort thought it helped them, so we're excited about that. And you know, building a sense of community is going to be important. You're going to have more classes in engineering than any previous first year class, so that's another important thing. you'll actually get to be in the engineering building, which may not sound like a big deal, but ask previous first-year students who've never barely seen the building. So that'll be another plus too. It's that sense of community and family.
So that, I guess, leads me into my final question that I have for you guys before we switch it over to the Q&A, is what is your favorite class that you teach, or what class are you most excited for with the re-engineered program? Maybe I'll start with Joel for this one.
Sure. So my background is electrical engineering, my technical background, and I've worked in everything from very small scale to large scale, so picowatts to 1.21 gigawatts. And because of that, I have worked in very many different aspects of engineering. I've worked in industry as a consulting engineer, and one of the things that I have discovered is that as an engineer, being technically competent, being able to do the math, understanding the science, do the calculations, it's almost assumed that you will be able to do that. But the engineers that really, many of them that really succeed, understand the importance of those transferable skills around communication, being able to work in a group, take a leadership role, know when not to take a leadership role, and so on. So I'm very excited because I'm very much involved with the Introduction to Engineering courses, where we talk about the engineering profession. We talk about how to be successful as an engineer. And, you know, however many years later here, I'm still discovering just how amazing the breadth and the depth of the scope of the engineering profession is. And an engineering degree can take you anywhere. And so I'm very excited about those Introduction to Engineering courses. But I'm also very excited about the circuits courses. I like the technical side of things. I like the problem solving. And just so everybody's well aware, I have a reputation, and I plan to continue this, of pulling example questions from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So as long as Marvel keeps putting out content, which it sounds like they are, you're going to want to keep up to date on those movies. Otherwise, you risk spoiler alerts in the class. So there might be questions about Doctor Strange 2 in one of the circuits courses. You're going to want to make sure you see the movie so you get it. You won't have to see the movie so you get it, but it's going to be a lot more fun if you do.
So I'll go with my favorite class to teach. I teach design a lot, so I will be teaching the design courses. That's one of my passions. But the truth of the matter is, I love any course I'm teaching, or else I wouldn't be teaching it. And so I love statics, dynamics, MATLAB, design, any of the courses I'll be teaching. I love them equally. And it sort of gets back to give you a head start on design. What's the most important step in design? It's problem definition. But I ask that each year to the first years, and a few years ago, one of them gave the most wisest answer I've ever heard. He said, the most important step in design is the one you are on. Ooh. That was sort of a Zen answer for that question. So I will say my favorite course to teach is the one I'm teaching at that moment. And I think Joel is the same. You kind of got the impression there. We jump into the courses that we are teaching and we become fully absorbed in them. And so there you go. But I draw from, in recent years, I've become a bit of a sports engineer. So I do a lot of work in sports with safety equipment, performance equipment, that sort of thing. Currently active in understanding the physics of curling and in head impacts around helmet design and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in that, we'll have a chance to talk about that later. Caitlin, if it's okay for a moment, there have been a lot of questions about summer top-ups, which I think we need to address, if that would be okay. Okay, good. So summer top-ups. We hope they will start on August the 1st. That's our target date for release, which means you'll be able to start doing them on August the 1st. There will be summer top-ups in math, chemistry, physics/mechanics, reading, writing, and Indigenous culture, Indigenous reconciliation. One of the questions people have been asking is, do you have to do them? Yes. They are assignment 0 for some fall courses, so you have to complete them. Consider them an extension of the type A quizzes in the actual fall and winter courses, which you have to pass the course. Now you get unlimited tries on them, so they're not meant to be super difficult. They're meant to review your high school work and to make sure that you're ready to go for your university courses. If you know the stuff cold, they're not going to take you that long to do. It could be, 2 or 3 hours per summer top-up, so not a huge amount of time or work or difficulty. If some of the material is new to you, or you find it difficult because you forgot it or whatever, or it was never taught to you because it was COVID, it'll take a bit longer. But you can take the time you need. And it's not meant to be hugely difficult. We will be providing access to tutorial materials embedded in the quiz. So if you're having problems, you'll get help. It'll be available right there. But these are not meant to be super long, but you do have to complete them. And there is support material there if you're having any difficulties. And like Caitlin mentioned as well, if you still had some problems on some things, come September, when you arrive at school, we will have some tutorial time with TAs that'll be able to help you further if you require that. So we have sort of stages of support. If you get a question wrong, you'll get feedback that'll help you get it right on the next try. If you're totally going, I've never seen this stuff before, there's tutorial material to help you for that. And if that didn't work, we have actual real live people, TAs, who will help you come September to clean up the loose ends.
So a question I've been reading in the chat is maybe there's a bit of confusion between the summer top-ups and the fall and winter top-ups. Could one of you maybe just describe the difference between the two different types of top-ups?
And if it is compulsory.
Joel, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So the summer top-ups, as Sean mentioned, they'll take place August into September in those 6 topics that were listed. When we get into what we're calling fall or winter top-ups, or top-ups that occur later on, one of the key elements of competency-based assessment is you have multiple opportunities to display your competence on the various learning outcomes. So let's say you get to the end of the course and there's 1 or 2 learning outcomes that you have not met competence on. You didn't get 70% in your type B assessments in that learning outcome, let's say. So we will provide an opportunity for you to an additional opportunity to go ahead and display and demonstrate your competence to us. That might take the form of an extra assignment that you'll do. That might take the form of a 2nd or 3rd module test, but you will have some extra opportunities to top up your grade and keep moving forward if you didn't manage to do it in the proper time within the class. And so the top-up time that shows up in your schedule is actually optional time to go get help, to prepare for whatever these top-up opportunities are. If it's an additional assignment, if it's writing another module test to bring your mark up to where it needs to be in certain learning outcomes, we will have some TAs available at strategic times, because at the start of the term, you're not going to be topping up module tests because there won't have been any yet. But when there's an opportunity for you to do some top-ups, we will have TAs available for you to go and get help in the courses that you've struggled a little bit in. And we really are just trying to provide you extra opportunities and extra time to show that you've met the threshold for moving on from that course and to keep going in the program. So that's really the difference. The summer top-ups are to make sure that we're not reteaching a whole bunch of high school stuff at the start of the year. And because we're not doing that, if you haven't seen it or you don't remember it, it's an opportunity to bring your knowledge up to a certain threshold there and start the year so that we know everyone at least has a certain level of competency in high school content. The rest of the top-ups are to help you through the actual courses you'll be taking in first year.
It occurs after hearing Joel's excellent description of that it is possible that we have maybe mislabeled summer top-ups and then fall top-ups and winter top-ups, because the fall and winter top-ups are actually something different than the summer top-ups. The summer top-ups are essentially quizzes that provide you feedback and assistance if you need it, which is very similar to the type A quizzes in the fall and winter in all the courses. And then, as Joel just described, the fall and winter top-ups are really just spares where you have time to work on sprucing up things that need sprucing up in terms of assignments or tests. And so it's quite a different animal. So maybe we should call them something different. Maybe by the time you get here in the fall, we'll have a different name for some of these things.
Yeah. Summer type A ups? Nah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
We'll workshop it. We'll figure it out.
That's right.
So along the same lines, I saw another question that where are the top-ups located? So maybe I'll ask how do you do the summer top-ups? Where are they, and how will the fall and winter top-ups be delivered?
Well, remember, the fall and winter top-ups are not so much delivered as they're time to work on improving your grades. They're essentially spares. And the top-upable stuff in the fall and winter will take the form of an extra test or assignment, as Joel was saying. In the summer top-ups, it's going to be exactly the same system as the type A quizzes in the fall and the winter. And that's going to be through the Canvas learning management system. So all the students at the University of Saskatchewan use the Canvas learning management system now. It is a much friendlier learning management system than the previous one called Blackboard. And so your courses will be on Canvas. You'll essentially log in, you'll go onto Canvas, and you'll be able to visit your course websites. And in those websites, there will be links to the summer top-up quizzes. And so that's how you'll be accessing them. So basically, when you register for your courses, at some point, the courses will become live, say August the 1st, just for argument's sake. And as you go into those courses, you'll see summer top-ups for whatever, mathematics. And then you'll hit the link and it'll take you there and you work through the quizzes. And if you get any questions wrong, you can redo them, blah, blah, blah. So it'll be done through the course management system, which is called Canvas.
So maybe I'll move on to my next question. Again, if anyone has any more questions about the summer top-ups or the fall winter top-ups, ask us. So this question is, for computer science programming, do you teach it from a basic level or do you need a bit of background information?
Starting from ground zero. And sorry, I put yes on the chat for a message that was about 10 messages old. It wasn't really keeping up for me. So the question I was answering was, will we be able to redo summer top-up quizzes? Yes, you can keep doing them as many times as you want until you get them all passed. So it's a no stress environment, really.
So I'm just gonna read what I have on the slides here. So if you want to ask us any questions, there's 3 different ways that we're going to be doing our Q&A for up until 8 o'clock for the next 20 minutes. So either you can message us in the chat, you can use the little hand icon, so it'll look like that with my hand, so we can see that you want to speak if you want to turn your microphone on, or you can just turn your camera on so that we know that you want to speak and say something. So I'll maybe just answer this question. Do summer top-up quizzes go towards our marks? They are pass or fail, so you just need to complete them. Oh, you beat me to it, Sean.
No, you beat me to it. I was trying to type madly. That's an interesting question from Zainab. How many classes are we expecting to be in person in the fall? I think the answer to that goes back to Dr. Sparling's initial talk at the start of this session. All the lectures which will typically be in groups of 200 to 300. Those will all be online. The labs or sort of more activity-based sections of 50 to 100, they will likely be in person. In the engineering courses, they will be in person. In the arts and science courses, they may still be remote. It'll be a bit of a mixed bag. But it'll be the smaller gatherings of 50 to 100 students where, at least in the engineering courses, that'll be in person. But the bigger stuff, the bigger lectures, that'll be remote. And just to be clear about what that means, it will vary a little bit between courses. But I think as far as the engineering courses are concerned, we intend to deliver those live. Another word for that would be synchronous. So you could attend a live lecture synchronously online, but we would be recording it. So if you wanted to watch it again later, or you missed that day for some reason, you slept in at 8:30, you could catch up later by catching the video. However, some courses, I know computer science, the CMPT 142, for example, I believe that will be asynchronous, which means not live, which means pre-recorded, which means the class time is a time available to watch a pre-recorded lecture, but you could technically do that anytime you want. So it gives you a bit of flexibility there.
So the next question I have is the re-engineered format going to continue second, third, fourth year, or is it going to follow a traditional format? And my kind of additional question for that is, how is the transition going to look like from the re-engineered first year program into your discipline?
Okay, there's two questions there. The first one, maybe Dr. Sparling would like to answer. or he would be the best person to answer that. That might be the better way to put it.
Yeah, I guess that is something that as we go through the first year and we learn what works and what works really well and we get good at it, we're really hoping that that will make its way into the upper years. That'll take a while though. So probably as you go through, you'll see at first it'll be probably mostly traditional, but as you go through, I'm sure you'll see more and more of these things being adopted into the upper year of the program. So I'm sure that once they see how well all of this works in terms of student learning, that there will be a lot of enthusiasm for adopting it in upper years as well.
Sounds good. Answer well put. And then the follow-on part of that from Caitlin was, how does that transition look? One of the things that Joel and I and the other instructors are really excited about, very excited about, is the transition in the bridge course that takes place in April. So as most of you probably know, there is no final exam period at the end of December and the end of April in the new first year program. The testing will sort of be spread out throughout the term. But at the end of the winter term in April, you'll only be taking two courses, or a maximum of two courses. There's a design course and there's a bridge course. And you'll know what discipline you're going into, what major you're going to be going into. And this will be a course that'll be the first course in your major, and it'll help you transition into second year. We are very happy to report that the departments have been really supportive of this, because it takes care of a lot of sort of loose ends and difficult issues that arise as students begin their second year. So they get to give you a punch of excitement about their discipline. But at the same time, it helps to take care of a few things that can really facilitate your learning in second year and onwards. And I'll give you one example. Computer engineering, electrical engineering, and engineering physics, those three programs, they will have another programming course in April. So right now, students coming out of first year have no programming languages. After next year, if you're in electrical, computer, or engineering physics, where programming is very important, you will come out with 3 programming languages. And we just can't tell you how important that's going to be for your employability, for getting summer jobs, for being able to do all sorts of new things in second, third, and fourth year that your compatriots from the past years have not been able to do. It's just going to empower you so much in those programs if you're interested in those programs. And in mechanical engineering, you're going to be learning about key mechanical engineering things that'll give you a supercharged start for second year. You're doing survey camp and civil geo and enviro, so gets that out of the way, which frees up your summer for more employment and good jobs. So there's lots of upsides, and we're really excited about the possibilities there.
Looks like we have a question from Evan. If you'd like to unmute yourself, you can ask us your question.
Hello. I just have two quick questions. What would the math summer top-up include? What subjects would be reviewed? Calculus math or foundations math?
Great question. It will be algebra, basic algebra, basic geometry, trigonometry, but there will be no real calculus reviewed because not everybody is going to have calculus at the start of first year. So there won't be any sort of, deep in the heart of a calculus course, that won't be there. But trigonometry is an important thing that we're hoping everybody has coming in. And so we're going to have some top-up materials around trigonometry to make sure everybody knows what a cosine, a sine, and a tangent is, and can figure out one given a triangle or a circle or something, and algebra, and some basic geometry. So those will be and functions. Just working with functions, y equals fx. What does a linear function look like? What's a y-intercept, an x-intercept, those sorts of things. Again, this is not meant to be really hard stuff. It's a review of the basics from high school, just as a bit of a tune-up, and to make sure if you had any gaps in your high school education that we can fill them in.
Okay. Yeah.
Good question.
So it looks like we have another question from Darian. You can unmute yourself and ask us your question.
Okay, hi. So my question is about the computer science class, and I know you mentioned that you don't have to have any experience in coding, but I was wondering if you already have a couple years of experience in coding in Python and Java, would you still be taking the same class as people who don't have any experience?
Yes, you would be. And your point is well taken. Perhaps in the future, there will be sort of a challenge for credit type situation going on, but that won't be this year. So the good news for you is that it may not be the hardest course you take in first year. In defense of taking the course, it is possible that you may not know all the proper programming techniques that you need, and those would be covered in the course, which would help shore up any weak areas you might have in that area. But I would say, yay for you. It might be an easier course because you already know some of the material, but it would be starting from zero. And there you go. And what I would encourage you to do, and I'm sure Joel would as well, if you want to really learn that material super well, help your friends who are learning it for the first time. There's nothing like teaching for learning material.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm also just going to address another question that's been coming up a lot. And it's just about wanting to see the different blocks that are available. So we're not going to have the specific courses listed until June 1st or June 12th. And you can see that in banner when you go to register. But on our website, if you just type in engineering USask first year, you'll be able to see a PDF of all of the different top-up times that you'll have or spares. So since the courses are very complicated with the different module of courses, it will be very confusing if we give you a schedule. So we have this, the course that shows all the different top-up times you'll have, but everyone will be taking the same courses, so it won't matter too much which block you choose. And I guess another point to add is you won't have the option to choose your electives within the re-engineered program. If you want to take even more credits than is in your engineering program, which would be a very, very heavy course load, you are welcome to register for additional courses, but they may not count as credit towards an engineering degree. So make sure to talk to an academic advisor if you really want to take an additional elective, but you do not need to search for courses. You just need to decide which block you want to take. So again, if anyone wants to ask some questions, please raise your hand, or you can turn on your camera so that we know that you would like to ask a question.
So nobody has any questions about the first year. Oh, here comes Evan again. That's good.
I just had one last question. I guess I just wanted to know what my next step would be before I worry about anything at the university. I just wanted to ask, the next step would be learning about class registration and all the requirements.
Yes, so maybe I'll just quickly talk about next steps. So if you are currently in high school and you're graduating from grade 12, when you submitted your transcripts, hopefully you selected that you want to send your transcripts as soon as possible and after you're done grade 12. So
Okay.
we should get your transcripts in around July. But that likely will be automatic, sent to us the same way that your first transcripts were sent. The next thing that's coming up is to choose your block and to register for classes on June 12th. So you can find the PDF online that shows all the different blocks. Make sure to watch the registration tutorial so you understand the different errors that might pop up and how to change your block if you change your mind. And then complete your summer top-ups and then show up for orientation. So that's basically an overview of your next steps leading up to starting on September 2nd.
Okay, cool. Will those list the half-speed courses? Are half-speed blocks shown of those 12?
Yeah, so we don't have a schedule to show when the, let's say when the math is in a half speed or when the natural science will be. But you will be able to see that on June 12th if you're really looking for only afternoon courses.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we have another question. Oh, here comes. Okay, Darian's got a question, but just before Darian goes, there was a quick question by Runo on chat. How would you go about knowing what all the classes have to offer? We will have course outlines for every class. So once you get into and register in your courses and the courses appear on Canvas, there will be a course outline, and that will tell you everything that's going to be happening in the course. Darian.
Sorry for another question. I'm sure no one is like going into engineering and planning to change majors after first year, but if someone did the first year of engineering and then decided engineering just wasn't for them, they wanted to change majors, how would that work in terms of credit transfers? Because all of the classes we take in first year are pretty like engineering specific.
Yeah, that's a great question. And we've actually been working a fair bit with Noreen and other members of the Engineering Student Center over the last year to answer that very question. So there are equivalencies between some of the courses that are taken in the first year engineering program and in other courses around campus. So there is actually a list of equivalencies. For example, if you take both of the engineering math courses, that would be worth 2 or 3 math courses in the regular math department. So there are equivalencies set up. There's a similar number to the past, but some of them are a bit more complicated. It is one of the, it's funny, one of the things that we're touching upon with the new first year is addressing your exact question. It's unfortunate when students sort of transfer out of engineering in second or third year because they've spent a year or 2 here already. We actually, if you're finding that engineering isn't for you, we kind of want to figure that out in first year. So we're trying to set up comparisons between, say, engineering and science courses that are similar, geology, geological engineering, chemistry, chemical engineering, that sort of thing, as we go along. And you're going to get to spend a day with each of 5 different engineering majors at the end of December instead of final exams. And that'll help clarify, hopefully, for you, A, should I be in engineering? And B, if I want to be in engineering, which kind of engineering do I want to be in? So you could, if you're sure, you could exit at Christmas and then sort of go off in a different direction. Or if you finish the year, there will be a number of transfers, most specifically computer science, mathematics. There'll be some chemistry, some physics that you can port over elsewhere. Those would be the main ones that would sort of transfer easily, I would say. And Joel actually knows this quite well, and if I've messed anything up, he'll be able to clarify.
No, I think everything you said was correct, Sean. I can't remember everything off the top of my head about what transfers in what way, but there are transfer credits available once you leave, if you were to leave engineering. Yeah, so once you made that decision, you'd be able to take a look at that and see what kind of credits you could get if you were to go over to, say, arts and science or something like that.
Okay.
It also occurs to me, Darian, that let me guess, just a shot in the dark. You're wondering between computer science and engineering.
Yeah, that's pretty much, this actually kind of relates to another question I kind of have, is if I wanted to get a dual degree in computer engineering and computer science, how would that
Right.
work?
Well, that's where I was going with the question. We have a lot of students, actually a lot of students who do exactly that. They'll go into electrical or computer engineering or engineering physics. Those are the 3 where a dual degree with computer science is the most popular. I suppose theoretically it can be done in any program. I know a couple of mechanicals who have done it, for example. But yes, it's a pretty popular thing to do. And an engineer who has also got a computer science degree or minor or major, that can be a pretty powerful combination. So you can definitely do that, and you should talk to the advisors in the Engineering Student Center about how to do so.
Okay, thank you.
So just being mindful of time, we're just going to answer 2 last questions. So I see we have Benjamin and Jaden have their hands up. So Benjamin, if you'd like to answer your question, we can answer it real quick.
And while he's coming on, we should answer Christian's question before we're done as well. It's an important question on chat.
Yeah, do you want to answer it? Maybe Benjamin's having microphone troubles.
Okay, we'll buy him some time. So Christian asked, would you recommend joining clubs like the design teams in first year, or should you wait a year because the course load's going to be too heavy and you'll know more in second year as well? There is no fundamental harm, and there are lots of upsides in joining design teams early. A lot of the first years this year joined design teams, And that puts them on sort of a leadership track for second or third year on those teams. So I personally would encourage you to do that. But your concern, Christian, is a good one. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. But usually first years who join design teams are not given the biggest workloads in the design team. So you can just say, you know, I can't take too much on, just give me a little bit to nibble on. And the design teams will help you with that. So I would go for it if I were you, and just be mindful of balancing your workload. But one of the other things that we're doing this year, which we're very excited about, is that you saw on that weekly schedule, noon hours are free across the board for all of you. And that means you can all have lunch together, or there could be meetings for design clubs during those times, or we could have guest speakers in, or you could go to the gym, all sorts of possibilities that the first years have never had before, because usually they're all scattered, like there's no lunch hour really. So you guys get a lunch hour, which means you have the ability to join teams and engage with them in a way that previous students have not. So I would say go for it.
And our session next week, we'll be talking about design clubs and student clubs. So make sure to join that one if you want to learn more. So Benjamin, are you able to get your microphone working? All right, if you're maybe still having trouble, maybe we'll just move on to Jaden's question. And these will be our last two questions of the night before we wrap it up. So Jaden, if you'd like to unmute yourself, you can ask us your question.
Okay, so my question is about the kind of like competitive side of things, I guess. So is that related to like, say, if I would like to go into electrical engineering, I may not get into electrical engineering because of like, I'm just kind of confused as to that side of things.
Joel, do you want to speak to that first, or?
Well, the different programs have slightly different requirements for getting in, and it's how they would calculate your average based on a certain number of first year courses. And so I think we actually have a new policy on that for this new first year program, and I don't know the details of it off the top of my head, but it's something we would certainly explain to you at the start of the year in GE 102, so you would know what you'd need to be aiming for and just how competitive it is to get into each of the different programs.
Okay.
If I could just jump in
Okay.
there, and that's a good question. Each of the majors have enrollment limits, so how many students they can handle, and so really it is a competitive process at the end, or when you make your decision, we'll be averaging a certain number of courses, and the higher your grades, the better chance you have in getting into those majors. Your first choice, you'll be asked to give a first, second, and third choice. But experience has shown that most students get into their first choice. So you don't have to worry too much about that. That we generally can accommodate most students in their first choice. But some students do have to go in their second choice.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Jaden, what discipline are you thinking you're going to be interested in?
I'm kind of between engineering and physics and electrical engineering. I don't know.
So
Those two are pretty interesting
news,
to me.
yeah, the good news for you is that those programs, if you got good marks, you can usually get in without a lot of competitive struggle. so you're looking at a couple of programs where your chances are excellent.
Okay, cool.
All right, so we're going over time. So Benjamin, were you able to get your microphone working?
Speaking there. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. What would be in the natural science courses, and what would happen in the student orientation? Thank you.
That one's tailor-made for Joel.
Yeah, the natural science courses in term 1, what you're actually going to get is an interesting taste of all 4 of the major natural sciences. So what you'll be doing is going through a sequence of 4 courses, 1 in chemistry, 1 in physics, 1 in biology, and 1 in geology, and each one runs for 3 weeks. And it's meant to be a very hands-on experience in the lab. Now, it's a good chance with COVID restrictions, those will likely be online this year. But it's an opportunity for you to see the differences between those natural sciences and the differences between the natural sciences and the most closely related engineering fields. For example, geology and geological engineering and physics and engineering physics. So they'll be short and sweet, but you'll get a nice taste of each of the sciences. And then in term 2, you'll get a deeper dive into both chemistry and physics. And the second question about orientation, I have not been directly involved in planning orientation for the upcoming year, so maybe Noreen or Bruce would like to speak to that.
We don't have any announcement yet, but we're anticipating that orientation would still be remote, like online delivery, because that would mean bringing into campus thousands of students. So
Yeah,
Hey.
likely orientation will be very similar to this with a presentation and Q&A, just getting you prepared for university. Last year they did a live stream with lots of cool prizes that they're giving out to students. So last year was our trial run with everything online, and this year we're experts in it. We've been doing it for a while. So I see that we've gone over time, so I just want to thank everyone who came out and asked questions. Thank you so much. We're so excited to meet all of these incoming students. And I also want to give a special thanks to all of the faculty and staff who are here to help me today. So thank you, Noreen, Sarah, Carlene, Dr. Sparling, Dr. Frey, and Dr. Ma. Thank you so much for your time. And we're very excited to meet all of our students in the fall. So with that, we are going to close the session, and we have recorded this if you missed anything or if your friends weren't able to join you. So I hope everyone has a great evening and enjoy the beautiful weather.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
bye-bye.